Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, March 24th. Kind of a nasty day here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Most places in the Mid-Atlantic region are quite chilly as we begin the day here in the 40s throughout much of the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. It can jump up to about the 60-degree mark later on today following the transition from low-level air coming out of the east and northeast this morning. So maybe a southwesterly flow of air in places like D.C., a possibility in Philadelphia also that we jump up to 60 degrees this afternoon. Less likely for that to happen in New York City, where the northeast low-level flow will continue likely through much of the day. There will be occasional showers today, maybe a thunderstorm or two, and there will also be some periods where there's no rain at all falling. But the threat will continue right through tonight as another low pressure system forms near the north mid-Atlantic coastline later in the day, and that'll kind of cause a blossoming of the precipitation later on this evening into the overnight hours, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line. Cold blast arrives this upcoming weekend into the mid-Atlantic, into the northeast U.S., and it's very likely that many areas, especially suburban areas along the I-95 corridor region, will drop to below freezing late Sunday night and again late Monday night. We'll talk about a couple possibilities of some frozen precipitation during this cold pattern here, beginning this weekend and continuing into the early and middle part of next week. Here's the latest radar loop from the College of Dupage weather website. First of all, you can see kind of a narrow band of showers right now across southeastern Pennsylvania. Not much going on in D.C., but there's some drizzle out there, not really being picked up by the radar here, but certainly some drizzle falling across Maryland, Virginia, and even into Pennsylvania, New Jersey. A lot of drizzle falling, occasional shower. Notice down here, though, along the Carolina coastline, there's still some healthy-looking radar echoes here, and that will actually expand in coverage to the north and west later this afternoon, especially this evening when low pressure starts to form near the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Expect to see a blossoming of this over Pennsylvania, for example, maybe even all the way southwest to D.C. later on this evening as that low pressure system develops off the coastline. So the threat of rain continues right through the nighttime hours and even right through the overnight hours in the Mid-Atlantic region, certainly into the morning hours on Friday up across the northeastern part of the nation. Well, let's take a look at last night's zero-Z run of the operational version of the GFS. First, we're looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies, and we'll really focus in on that cold blast coming. By the time we get to Monday, many places in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. will be some 20 to 25 degrees Celsius below normal for this time of the year, for the latter part of March. Normal high temperature right now in Philadelphia is about 55 degrees or so, maybe 53 in New York City. Don't be surprised at all if New York City, for example, holds in the 30s on Monday, way below normal for this time of the year. And again, below freezing conditions, very likely throughout much of the Mid-Atlantic and northeastern part of the nation, late Sunday night, again late Monday night, maybe even Tuesday night in some areas. First of all, we have some low-level chilly air here starting off today in the low to mid-40s in a lot of the D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City corridor. Above normal temperatures, a few thousand feet off the surface here at 850 millibars. Now watch what happens as we progress through the next 24 hours. We have this kind of a clash zone here with colder than normal air pressing to the north and east. And that's one of the reasons why another low pressure area will form right in this region right here near the northern Mid-Atlantic coastline later today. And that will enhance the precipitation, the rainfall, back into the Mid-Atlantic region in the evening hours, especially north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. Then we go into the day on Friday night, and look at upstream by the time we get into Saturday morning. We're starting to see the very cold air relative to normal for the latter stages of March showing up in southern Canada as of Saturday morning. Saturday itself will be quite a volatile day in the Mid-Atlantic region. We'll see why in a moment When we look at the upper air energy, there's a very vigorous upper level trough that will move right overhead on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening in the Mid-Atlantic region. Look at the colder air start to move in. It really becomes an increasingly cold type of weekend. Starts off probably highs in the 50s on Saturday, the 40s on Sunday, and in some areas could find to the 30s for highs on Monday, like New York City, Philadelphia, maybe not doing better than 40 degrees here. And look at this, below normal conditions here by the time we get into Sunday night. And here we go by Monday morning, a lot of the northeastern part of the nation way below normal, and again, below freezing conditions late Sunday night and again late Monday night. Another thing I want to point out here, by the time we get into Tuesday, take a look at this boundary zone that's starting to form right in this region right here. You have the cold air to the north and east, and we talked about this yesterday, warmer than normal air to the south and west. This will become kind of a battle zone here, and I think precipitation is going to break out right in this region. However, it can be a little bit to the north and east, a little bit to the south and west. It's very hard to say exactly where the precipitation will set up. We're talking in the Tuesday night, Wednesday time frame. There'll be a narrow band of snow and maybe some ice and rain right in this region here, and it's impossible to say right now if that narrow zone of precipitation will be over D.C., be a little farther to north and east over southeastern Pennsylvania, or maybe south and west of D.C. Just a little too early to pinpoint because it's going to be such a narrow band. But with all this cold air still in place, it's something we'll really monitor over the next few days, because the possibility exists that there'll be some snow in the Mid-Atlantic region, somewhere in the Mid-Atlantic region in a narrow zone, Tuesday night time frame. It's something we'll follow and monitor over the next several days. We move forward a little bit in time here. By the time we get to Tuesday night and Wednesday, still cold air hanging on in the northeastern part of the nation, and still a sharp boundary zone right in this region right here between that warmer air to the west and the colder air to the north and east. So again, got to watch out. Low pressure may form right along that frontal boundary zone. Now let's take a look at the 500 millibar maps here. Saturday's going to be a volatile day, and we'll see why in a moment here. First of all, vigorous upper level low sliding slowly to the east, and this is a contributing factor as to why low pressure will form later today into early tonight right across this region right here. We had the initial low pressure area move up to the north and west, and now a secondary low will form later today, and that will extend the rain threat in the Mid-Atlantic region through tonight, especially north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. We'll see that radar showing some precipitation rainfall right here in this region actually may slacken off this afternoon in the Mid-Atlantic region, but then all of a sudden this evening may be an expansion, kind of an explosion of rainfall associated with that low pressure area forming. Then we move forward into the upcoming weekend, and here we go by Saturday morning. We'll look at this very, very vigorous wave of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere. We really have two cold fronts that come through this weekend. An initial front on Saturday, maybe a secondary front Saturday night or early Sunday, and behind that secondary front will really come the colder air for Sunday night, and Monday, in fact, all the way into Tuesday. Now, with this initial frontal system on Saturday and this kind of energy aloft, expect a breakout of showers in the Mid-Atlantic region. Interior, higher elevation sections, in the western part of the Mid-Atlantic region, in the western part of northeast U.S., expect snow bands, lake effect type of snow. And with this kind of instability in the atmosphere and colder air moving in aloft initially, don't be surprised if even in the I-95 corridor region some ice pellets mix in later in the day on Saturday into Saturday night. It could be sleet, could be graupel, which is kind of snow pellets falling with that increasingly cold air in the upper part of the atmosphere. That pushes in, and by the time we get to Sunday, we're really enveloped in the cold air across the Mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. Highs on Sunday confined to the 40s, well below normal for this time of the year. And again, Sunday night, Monday night, way below normal for this time of the year, and below freezing in not only in the suburban areas along the I-95 corridor region Sunday night and Monday night, but also even in the urban areas, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. I expect to see the 20s in the urban areas by early Monday morning and again early Tuesday morning. And then by the time we get to the Tuesday time frame, we talked about this earlier, we have kind of this battle zone region setting up somewhere in here with cold air to the north and east and warmer air ridging to the south and west, and we'll have to watch to see where there may be a narrow band of some snow or sleet or rain developing somewhere in the Tuesday into Wednesday time frame. Well, let's take a look now at the surface maps. Again, we're using the 0Z run of the GFS. Some rain right now scattered about in the Mid-Atlantic region. Don't be surprised if it slackens off for a while. Drizzle can occur at just about any time, but this area down here will expand early this evening. You can start to see here by 8 o'clock tonight. Notice already from this in the middle of the day to this by early tonight, starting to expand as low pressure starts to form off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Then it tends to explode. And here you have really the development of low pressure right along the northern Mid-Atlantic coastline right here. And you have kind of a classic comma-shaped precipitation in the form of rain exploding during the early evening hours, certainly north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border and probably all the way down to the D.C. metro region. So again, even though the rain may slacken off this afternoon, expect it to refill early this evening, and that threat of rain will continue right into the overnight hours. And then by the time we get into Friday morning, a healthy snowfall for upstate Maine as this entire system starts to pull away. Notice here, low pressure right in this region right here come early Friday morning. Again, that extends the precipitation in the Mid-Atlantic region through the nighttime hours. Then we get into the day on Saturday. Here we are, Saturday morning. Very, very strong wave of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere. You'll see lake effect snows breaking out early Saturday, Ohio Valley, western part of the Mid-Atlantic region, upstate New York, all these interior higher elevation locations. And then that upper level system moves on top of the Mid-Atlantic region, including the I-95 corridor region. Expect some rain showers to develop, and with cold air moving in aloft, would not be surprised to see some ice pellets mixing in even near the I-95 corridor region later in the day on Saturday into early Saturday night. Decent snowfall, lake effect snows, upstate Pennsylvania, upstate New York, West Virginia, eastern part of Ohio, and that threat of precipitation continues into early Saturday night. And then by the time we get to late Saturday night, notice here this isobar pattern really tightens up. We're going to have strong, very noticeable northwest winds late Saturday night through the day on Sunday as that next secondary cold shot arrives here. And here we go, Sunday morning. Quite a bit below normal on Sunday with highs generally confined to the 40s, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. By the time we get to Sunday night and Monday morning, very, very cold conditions right here. Below freezing much of the Mid-Atlantic region early Monday morning and also the northeastern part of the nation. And then we've talked about this before. This area right in here will kind of become a battle zone area between the cold air up to the north and east and the warmer air to the south and west, and precipitation will break out in that particular area, and we'll have to watch that. It's just too early to pinpoint it, but you see what I'm talking about in terms of kind of a narrow zone here. It'll be oriented northwest to southeast, and if this ends up over the D.C. area, it could actually be some snowfall. If it stays to the south and west, there could be a completely dry kind of a day on Tuesday. And will it end up affecting southeastern Pennsylvania? Just a little too early to say. But with cold air in place here, it's something to monitor over the next few days, because as you can see here, the GFS is depicting not only the threat of snow, but ice, sleet, freezing rain as a possibility in this frontal boundary zone that will set up Tuesday night time frame. Something we'll monitor closely over the next several days. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorey.